that breeze is definitely favouring the right-handed batters hitting towards left field.
Well, we've seen at least 3, if not 4 shots so far this innings, and we've only just started the game.
We had our Senior State Championships just on the weekend just gone, finished up, and the MC Sports, where it was the 8th annual Home Run Derby, sponsored by MC Sports, where one of our proud partners, and there was a lot of long balls that night here at the Home Run Derby, and with this wind, there probably would have been a bunch more.
I think people on West Beach Road would have been threatened by Luke Andrews, for starters, as he's put a couple over the dog club, which is a fair hit.
Absolutely huge. And as a matter of fact, the runner-up of the women's division is playing this game, Reggie Fairley. She's starting on the bench for the Hills Heat. I saw one of her arms strapped up, so maybe a slight injury.
I think she's probably tired. I think she's played a fair bit.
Maybe she's coming for a pinch hit. With this breeze, you might put her up in the order sooner rather than later. Jordan Lee has a great turn at bat and earns herself a walk. Rachel Tonkin would have advanced on the pass ball, but it was a ball four, so she goes over to second base. Now, we're down to the 8th hitter, Lauren Fleming. She's been a handy contributor to this Sturt club over the last couple of years.
Yes, and she can play in a variety of positions, Lauren, mainly a shortstop or in the outfield, or second base.
It's always interesting to see the way teams come back from this long break, a 7-week break. They may have only trained at club level maybe once or twice because of all the national commitments, the school holidays, you know, people are away on trips and interstate and overseas. And, you know, you kind of forget about softball a little bit at that club level. Most of them representatives, as we've already mentioned, but on this occasion, we've seen Sturt just absolutely come out firing already.
Yes, they're nearly through the lineup here. One more batter and we're at the bottom of the lineup. That's the third base on balls.
Yeah, so 2 hits and 3 walks. This could become expensive. We've got loaded bases with the 9-hitter up to bat. We know Jessie Keach can hit, and if she can get on and move these runners around, you've got the top of the order around again, and it could be trouble for Hills. So now, with Emily pitching, we've seen on occasions this Hills Heat lineup have gone through their pitches. They've got Mackenzie Ween who can roll over. They've got Courtney May, the left-handed option. Kelly O'Brien pitched a little bit at state championships. I doubt we'll see her. And in the dugout, you've got the coach as well, Tanya Hood.
Yes, well, will we see her, Tan?
Former state Stars representative herself, and under-19s player as well, with her assistant coach was Mandy Schaffner, now Mandy Hopkins. Some familiar names there in that dugout, but I don't think we'll see Tanya tonight. She's only played the 1 game so far this year. She came on for a pinch hit and got a hit.
I think she'd be due.
Well, Emily is just struggling with her zone a little bit here. She was inside the entire count to Fleming. Jordan Lee got a walk on the inside as well, so Alex might need to set up just a little bit further outside because these Sturt hitters are pulling everything at the moment. So she can get that ball on the outside of the plate, you know, maybe get a cheap ground ball.
Yeah, get a cheap out. That's what you need to do. And anything on inside's going hard down the left field line.
Well, Jessie Keach has got herself into a great hitting count here and gets after this one, a foul ball. Rachel Tonkin ducking for her life there. She's okay as long as she's in foul territory. But if she is to lead off in the field of play and she gets hit by a batted ball, she could be in a little bit of strife.
Yes. Well, they need to buy an out. Excuse me. They need to buy an out here, James, as you said. So,
Foul ball from Jesse Keach. Jesse Keach right up the front of the box. You can see on the vision there, thanks to Spacequake Sports. It's the runners took off there, didn't they? I've just lost track of the count. Was it a full count, Lee? It was a full count. So we saw the runners take off on the pitch because of the full count with 2 out, as the players should be doing. So we'll see that again. So he really need to knock it down and make a play here. Play your base or get it across to first. Danny Perez. Good job to finally retire the Falcons on a good piece of the ball too from Keach. She definitely got all of it, but it was a safe glove over there at third base from Perez, and she makes the 3rd out. But geez, they done some damage, didn't they? They got a few runs there, 3 outs and 3 left on base, which means they scored 3 runs. So
well, it was a good pitch from Emily to get out of there, because she put it out wide, and then Jessie had to hit the ball in the play, and Danny did the rest. But through the lineup, 9 batters faced and 3 runs. 3 base on balls and no K2s.
Well, mate, we mentioned Georgia Hood is missing for the Hills Heat. How about these 2 for outs for the Sturt Falcons? Belinda White and Maddie Cameron. They're the top 2 hitters of this Sturt lineup. Maddie Cameron hitting 452 so far this year. Belle White hitting 389. And they're both on national duties as well. They're playing in the same team as Georgia Hood over in the Asia Pacific Cup, along with our 2 other Aussie Travelodge Aussie Spirit representatives in Chelsea Robinson and Jordan Lambert, but their teams aren't playing tonight, so not affected here. However, doesn't seem to have phased the Falcons at all.
Certainly hasn't hurt their batting, has it? 3 runs is a great start. I'll just go around the Sturt defence and defending the dirt. At first base is Jenny Gray. Second base is the usual second base, Rachel Tonkin. Third base, Jessie Keach, and in the hole at shortstop, Lauren Fleming. And the outfield, left to right, Jordan Lee, Pippa Adkins, and Ada Caruana.
He's a monitor, Nelly went flying there in this breeze. It just picked up. A gust of wind has just blown through West Beach. And it'll be interesting to see how the players actually react to it. So the wind definitely played a bit of a factor in that first inning. We saw the ball drifting across to the inside of the batters for Emily Hopkins. Zali's got a little bit more spin and maybe even a bit more pace, so it might not drift as much, but the ball can come off the bat pretty hard with the aid of the breeze. We might even see some misfields in the field, just like we saw in that Hills Heat inning.
You think so? Wind is contributing factors, errors at times on a night like this. Well, she's got somebody to throw to here, Amber Hood, who can really hit the ball hard.
Well, Hood gets off to a pretty good start, good piece of the ball, and she arrives safely to first. She just looks a little ginger as she arrives there. We know she's carrying a slight injury, so we hope she's okay. And brings up Emily Hopkins. Now, that's exactly what the Hills needed. They needed their lead off on base, and now they need to advance her. And this one goes to shortstop once again. So 2 plays in 2 pitches to Lauren Fleming at shortstop, and that breeze is playing a little bit of havoc. You just saw the return throw from second base player Rachel Tonkin. It nearly went over Zali's head from about 8 metres away.
Yeah, and that one to Lauren died. It just dropped dead. when she went to field it.
Danny Perez now for the Hills Heat. Was teammates with Zali Adams just last week at the under-19s, where they came a very respectable 3rd place. Of course, they would have been hoping for a slightly better result, but I can tell you they played some big games over there, and they did themselves proud. Perez just gets after that one. It's popped up, foul.
1 ball, 1 strike.
You can see it on the screen there. Hills Heat record of 5 wins, 9 losses and 2 draws. Sturt Falcons 9 wins, 6 losses and 1 draw. It just means so much to them to get off to a good start this back half of the season, because they've got some tough competition. I think we were talking before the broadcast league that they've probably got the toughest run home, haven't they, Hills Heat?
Yes, they certainly have. We were looking through the teams they were playing in relation to where they are on the ladder. So top 4, bottom 3.
Oh, Perez picks that change up. She's a little early on it, but she was all over it and fouls it down the left field line now.
Well, these 3 batters, Perez, Rocha and Ween, are all under-19 players.
When they just finished their tournament on Saturday. So they should be in good form. A high rise ball. So Adams as well was part of that team. So just wonder if she's fresh. She would have played in, you know, a dozen or so games over the 2 tournaments she played in. So I've been wondering, it'd be interesting to see the toll that it takes on the pitcher. You'd think for the batter, they'll be seeing the ball like watermelons. But for the pitcher, it takes a bit out of you having to pitch.
Certainly does. In those conditions.
I have seen Millie Fidge warming up in the bullpen. She's the designated player for the Falcons tonight, for Zali Adams, who's the flex player, who has once again made the trek from Port Pirie. G'day to all our viewers in Port Pirie. It's a good 2-hour drive from here.
Yep, last Thursday, our 46.6 day, would have been nice and hot up at Port Pirie.
Well, Perez gets under this one and bangs it out in centre field, and that is also a missed ball. So this breeze is playing havoc out there. So just mentioned it in the middle of changeover of innings that, you know, perhaps this wind did affect the Hills defensive innings, and you can tell that it's already had an effect on the Sturt defensive innings. So players will need to adjust to the conditions now. That one would have been a routine fly ball, but the breeze just took it and it went over the top of Pippa Atkins' head at centre.
Yeah, she was camped underneath it, and like you said, the wind, the breeze.
And although pitching into the breeze, Zali Adams looks like she's got a fair bit of zip tonight. So
yeah,
so
it's sort of coming across, I think. Isn't
yeah,
it?
I think so too. Yeah, so she looks like she's in form. Good touch. Rocha was quite early on that one as well, and she'll be keen to keep this ball rolling for the Hills Heat. Their first 3 batters have got on base. If they can be brought around, they'll tie up the game just in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Try for a ball, gets away from catcher Sarah Tonkin. Good grimacing as she runs down the line, but she's got some grit about her, Amber Hood, and crossing the plate safely. Now, we've got Amber Hood down as number 7. She's wearing number 8. Maybe she's misplaced her playing top. Wearing her sister's.
Yes, well, maybe she left at home. I don't know.
I'll get it, Tom.
Sorry, I didn't know that one.
Oh, we just heard in the effects microphone the plate umpire Kevin Tannenbrink doing the fielding there for Sarah Tonkin, who said, "I don't even know where it went."
Honest woman.
All right, 3 runs to 1. Hills are on the board early in the bottom of the first. There are none out, 2 runners in scoring position. Moshe just behind in the count, but looking to protect the zone. Watches this one on the outside edge for a ball. 2-2 count. It's been a long first inning, hasn't it? There's still got plenty more to go because there's no outs here and we're about the 27-minute mark already. It's after this one, it pops up. Third base, Jesse Keach gets under it and takes a good catch. So that's the first out for the Hills. In the bottom of the first, and the statewide super replay will show Keach. She'll get under it. She tracks the ball well. And just as you're taught from a young age, 2 hands for a catch.
Yes.
Mackenzie Ween now, the new hitter for the Hills Heat. Is high and outside the zone for a ball now. We saw Emily Hopkins struggle with the strike zone a little bit in that first innings for the Hills, and now Zali.
A lot of high pitches at the moment, isn't there? Yeah. Maybe due to the wind. Not that time.
Gets that one back in there. She hasn't thrown any walks yet because the top 3 hitters for the Hills Heat have been quite aggressive swinging the bat, and Maddie Rocha also showed her aggression and popped up to third base Jessie Keach just on that last play. No attempt, said plate umpire Tannebring, and well, she's working herself into a reasonable count here. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, that's what you need to do on a windy night, surely, James. Just make the pitcher work harder than what she wants to. Simple game, isn't it, in that respect?
Low for ball 3, so pretty good here from Mackenzie Ween so far, and an important turn at bat as well, because after 1 out, you don't want a quick second out when you're chasing a couple.
No, very good point, James.
Oh, great bunt. She executes it very well. There's the first base player is down for the bunt. We saw second base player Rachel Tonkin cover first base to complete the out. Good play from the pitcher Zali Adams. Let's watch the statewide super replay. Good execution from Ween, and she pushes that out for just out, but that was just off screen. Emily Hopkins crosses the plate for the second run, and Danny Perez advances to third. So great sacrifice bunt from Mackenzie Ween.
Gave them no chance to get the runner coming home in Emily Hopkins. Then, now Kelly O'Brien, she's been around a while, but she certainly can play, Kelly. Pitches at times, plays first base,
well,
and can hit.
Kelly O'Brien has the same batting average as Belinda White has for the Falcons. She's hitting 389. She's having a terrific season so far. And she's been one of the very consistent performers for the Hills Heat so far this season.
Well, that's what you want, isn't it? Some consistent hitters. Here we go.
There's another one for Kelly O'Brien. Rips one up the middle and ties up the ball game. So Hills Heat bounce straight back with 3 runs of their own. Just when you thought the Falcons were looking comfortable. Bang, bang, bang. The Hills Heat are back in the game. They've tied it up off an RBI single from Kelly O'Brien. Now, bringing back up to bat, the 7 hitter for the Hills Heat, Alex Mackey. It's after the first pitch and another shot. It's a great single from Mackey, advancing O'Brien to second base. And
first pitch.
We'll see a temporary runner come in for the catcher, Alex. Now Alex, on the statewide super replay, rips that one up the centre right alley, and she's just back from representative as softball as well, this time as an assistant coach. Her first year as an assistant coach for our SA Under-19 men's team, who played in a combined team with Softball Victoria. So thanks to our very good friends at Softball Victoria for helping us get that team together. A pass ball now.
Yeah,
so
well, that's fantastic about what you said about Alex. And Mackenzie Ween came in to run for the catcher then. Courtney
May up to bat. She was part of that officials team for the Under-19 men's team as the statistician. So both been recently away with the state team as well. Gets a piece of this one. Is it going to drop in the gap as Jordan Lee does a great job to take a good catch? You saw her just react after she took that. She thought she may have run underneath it. Let's watch the statewide super replay. She runs hard to get underneath it, and then
she said,
right at the last minutes,
yeah,
the wind just took it.
Yeah,
see the reaction there.
And she said, oh my goodness.
On any other night with this breeze, that may have dropped in for a blooper, and with two runners in scoring position, Hills Heat were a chance to take the lead there. How about that lead? We've just seen intriguing softball, because both teams have scored 3 runs, and both teams have left runners on base as well. So it may be the team that settles first in the defence will win this game.
Well, either that or the wind drops completely, which it will do, I guess.
Well, no sign yet, and you can tell from the players' uniforms, they're just blowing the wind. The ponytails as well are waving in the wind, and yeah, tough, must be tough conditions out there. I can only imagine.
So a little bird's whispered in my ear today and said that you've got a job to do on the weekend coming up, or next week, is it? I only got half the story.
Thanks for bringing that up, Lee. Yes, I will be part of the crew commentating the finals of the Asia Pacific Cup on Fox Sports, so you can catch all the Asia Pacific Cup finals action on Sunday from 10:30 Eastern or 10 o'clock Adelaide time, and you'll see the semi-final and the grand final live on Fox Sports, channel 507, and then Monday night, Tuesday night and Wednesday night, prime time softball, the Summer Slam. I cannot wait, Lee. We've got 5 SA girls represented in the teams over there, with the Bandits with Chelsea Robinson and Maddie Cameron. We've got Jordan Lambert in the Riot, Belle White in the Fury, and just recently added to those rosters would be Georgia Hood. She hasn't been allocated a team yet, so can't wait to see the girls in action, and I can't wait to be part of that team.
That'll be fantastic. I couldn't think of a better person to call the games than you, James, and I must stop lying.
Very much appreciated. Great little shot there from Ada Caruana. Just gets in the 5-6 hole, and we saw Daniela Perez just reaching out for that one and just off. But yeah, thanks, Lee. You'll be in the capable hands. We'll see the return of Eric Bolnar this Saturday for our Spacequake Sports live broadcast and the streaming, and next Wednesday night the great one himself, Mark Cramp, will make a return as well. We'll see Kathy Lambert back at some stage in the coming weeks too, so the cool team getting back together.
Quality team. We have the A team and the A+ team and the A++ team.
Ada Caruana will advance to second on the strike called from Kevin Tannenbrink. None out, runner in scoring positions for Pippa. Now, be interesting to see what happens here, because we've seen Pippa can absolutely rip into the ball. However, she has played a fairly short game the majority of the season, hasn't she? She plays a running slap, a running bunt style game. She's behind in the count now, so she might have to free up the hands a little bit and rip into this one.
Well, I'm not throwing her outside. Same with Ada. I'm throwing inside. Just cramp her up, make her pull the ball down the first base line or second base fielder. As you were saying about the wind before affecting your fielding, James, it also affects you when you run. Sometimes you're running into a crosswind, running into a headwind.
There's a piece of that one to remain in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, Pippa, speaking of being in form, she represented the Stars and under-19s this month, and was definitely one of the decent performers for the under-19s, and did herself proud in the Stars as well in her first year in the Open Women's Division.
It was terrific experience for her. She'll gain a lot from that. I mean, she's got the world in front of her as a player, and good luck to her.
It's a Just a little bit of a miss hit of the ball. Pulls that one from the outside, and it just held up in that wind, didn't it? There was no penetration as the wind held that up, and Mackenzie Ween was able to back for that one and take a good catch. Let's watch the statewide super replay, and we'll see she didn't take her eye off it. Takes a good catch and very close to the runner Ada Caruana, holding her up. So 1 out and runner on second. Pick up there from Alex Mackey. Sarah Tonkin up to bat now. She really got things going for the Falcons. She did. In the top of the first innings, didn't she? With that rip down the left field line, ricocheting off Brennan there at left field, and she crossed the plate. Fake Bart Steele has fooled the defense here, and Ada Caruana easily arrives there at third base. So very good tactic, particularly when you're known to play that short game as the Falcons are. And Caruana with the wheels as well, one of the fastest in the competition.
Yes, and there's no substitute for wheels on base.
Lee, we did mention the Summer Slam before, and you can get on the Softball Australia media as well and stay in touch with the official hashtag SummerSlam, and the Twitter handle at Softball Oz, Instagram page at Softball Australia, and of course from the Softball Australia Facebook page. Or you can go to the championship website at www.fullyloadedsoftball.com. And you can also reach it from the Softball Australia website as well. I'm really pleased to be part of that team and calling the action, but what I'm most excited about is to see that format of the game, fully loaded softball, loaded bases from the first pitch of every inning, a shortened format of the game, 3 innings per defense, and shorter home run fences as well. So can't wait to bring in that action. So great shot from Sarah Tonkin as she brings in another RBI. So she's got a couple of those already in this game. Statewide super replay will show it. She rips the ball past shortstop Amber Hood, who is obviously in discomfort. You can see she's not moving freely, and that one was, you'd probably even think that she'd get that on a normal day. So probably playing about 50% tonight, Amber Hood. This angle will show it on the statewide super replay. A piece just to the glove side of Amber, and she didn't even go for it.
That's a sign.
It is a sign, because she is a terrific player and one that doesn't mind putting her body on the line to field the ball, dive in, slide.
It's her ground coverage is one of her great assets.
And agility, yeah.
That's right.
All right, Sturt arrest the lead. So they take that 1-run buffer, and Sarah Tonkin, with just the 1 out on first base, gets a big aggressive lead off.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
1 ball and 2 strikes to count.
Umpire Tanner bringing great position, early position to see that. Not a problem at all. This is what happens with experienced umpires. Get themselves in the correct position, call the outs or fouls or safes.
2 balls, 2. Count's full.
Full count, and Sarah Tonkin allowed to advance unchallenged on that pass ball to second base. Jenna Gray with a hit. Brennan at third base is in an attacking position, and she pounces on that quickly, firing it in, reducing the damage to a single base from Tonkin, and she arrives safely on first. Let's watch the statewide super replay, and good fielding on this occasion from Brennan, and almost had a play there at third, didn't she?
Well, the interesting stats here that I'm looking at. The lead-off hitter in both innings, Ada Caruana, scored. The second batter, Pepper Atkins, was the first out in the innings, and the next batter, the number 3 batter in both innings, Sarah Tonkin, got a hit.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, very interesting and good pickup as well, Lee. So back to Millie Fitch, who had a fly to shortstop. Her first turn at bat, pulls this one down the left field line, and the breeze just takes that one over the foul line. So just a little unfortunate for Fitch on that occasion, but Brennan was right there, wasn't she? So if the ball hadn't have tailed away with the wind, she may have been in a good position for a catch.
I think she'd been in the action then.
So maybe it was fortunate in the end. Ball 2 strikes, so Hopkins with a good pitch count. Fitch just drills that one towards third base, and Sarah Tonkin will score on that misfield from Perez. Gee, she's been in the hot corner tonight, Perez.
Yeah, and that was hit very hard.
Well, Fitch bringing a run off that one, advancing. Jenny Gray to second. Statewide Super replay will show it just there that it came off like a rocket. Perez got a glove to it and was able to knock it down. Maybe even saved a couple of bases because it was hit so hard. She may have even gone past Brennan there at left field, although she is in pretty close to the line.
Well, we'll never know, will we?
We'll give her some credit where it's due because she's been peppered there at third base. Let's have a look at the Hills Heat defense there. Just having a bit of a chat with assistant coach Mandy Hopkins. Breeze blowing around everywhere, and plate umpire Tannenbrink will let her know that that's her first conference. What do you think that discussion was about? There's 1 out, there's runners at first and second, and Rachel Tonkin up to bat.
Well, I think it's about, it may not be about the win, but I think it should be. Just need to settle down and not have another innings, although they've scored 2 now. And Rachel Tonkin batting now is been on with a safe hit to left field. Her first turn, and then Jordan and Lauren both picked base on balls.
Yeah, that might be what the conversation was about. This is the part of the lineup that they really need to attack and get some ground outs and some cheap outs. The bottom half of the order, I mean, we did go through their lineup just before and talked about how much talent is in that Sturt lineup, but if you're going to be a chance, you've got to take the outs when you can get them, and absolutely no disrespect for the Sturt hitters, but the Heat field do not want the top of the order to come back up.
No, and that time they were just testing, I think, with Rachel. Amber was quick to get to the base then, but I think they were just having a test.
Great pitching from Hopkins. She catches the bottom half of the zone there for a strikeout. That might be the first of the game, Lee, for both teams. Correct me if I'm wrong, and 2 out now for the Falcons. Runners are still at first and second for Jordan Lee. Had a great piece of the ball in her first turn at bat, although it went foul. Showed good intent and then patiently got herself a walk.
Yes, well, they need to shut this innings down right now. Leading at 5-3, the Falcons. I can't say I've seen a game for a while, James, that's had so many high pitches, and I think that's attributed to the win, surely.
Yeah, both pitchers have just struggled a little high in the zone tonight as well, and none of the opposition batters are swinging for them as well. So both teams are showing some great patience there in the box, but they're the ones you're going to go for. Those ones there at the right at the bottom of the zone. Runners have advanced to second and third.
Back-to-back base on balls for Jordan Lee. And now there's another one they've got to start with base on balls, Lauren Fleming, the number 8 hitter. 2 down.
Well, Coach Young will be stoked with the contributions he's getting from the entire lineup. This is the second inning in a row that they've gone through their order. Well, Lauren's the 8 hitter, so they've pretty much gone through twice already, and it's a good mix as well of hits and walks, and like I mentioned just before, the just the 1 strikeout. Well, Lauren Fleming, you mentioned it before, took a walk and she's got herself into a great hitter's count again. 3 balls and 1 strike. There's 2 out with loaded bases. Lee, you'd be happy as a batter in this situation.
Certainly would. I think Emily just looks like she's rushing to me. See what you think, James. You being a catcher of some note. What would you do in the situation? Would you say just slow it down a bit?
Yeah, you got to keep the ball down, and but in the strike zone, because
take your time getting back to.
And you use your go-to pitch as well, your number 1 pitch, your best pitch in that situation, because your best chance you'll have here is either to beat the bat or to get them to ground out, and on that occasion, Hopkins did go to her down ball, but it was just a little low on that occasion, so she couldn't pick up a cheap strikeout nor a ground ball and walked the bases. So another run score, so 3 runs for Sturt again, this time in the 2nd inning. 2 outs and loaded bases for Jessie Keach.
Well, it's real danger again here.
One ball, 1 strike.
Certainly a hard hitter of the ball, Jessie, for a short player.
And patiently watching that one, another high ball that they've been easily been able to negotiate. 2 balls and 1 strike, loaded bases with 2 out. Again, watching patiently to 3 and 1, so great count for Keach. And
well, it puts so much pressure back onto the pitcher. Bases loaded, there's 2 out.
And it also, with the top of the order on deck. Great pitch, catching the outside edge, and they really needed that one heels heat. Okay, so loaded bases, full count, 2 out, runners will go on the pitch, they'll take off, and they'll try and maximise their efforts here, and Keach smashes this one to left field, and another long ball into foul territory. Gee, that one had some carry.
Look, it had some depth in it, didn't it? And that's the sort of girl she is. She's a strong girl. Seen her hit the fence on the full, half volley the fence.
How good was she in the under-17s?
Yeah.
A swing and a miss, well, a foul tip that's taken by Mackie, and 3 runs in the top of the 2nd inning for the Falcons, and we've seen 3 half innings so far, all innings providing 3 runs for the offensive team, and this game just continues to turn, doesn't it? It's in favour of the Falcons, and then Heels Heat claw their way back through good batting, through good disciplined batting, some aggressive hitting at times, but they put 3 on themselves, and then again they find themselves with a 3-run deficit.
Well, here we go. Can they match it with another 3?
We are in an innings break here with that another gust of breeze, the monitors flying everywhere, the paperwork's going everywhere. Lee, I was just going to mention the news through the off season that in case you haven't caught up with the softball news, and there's been some big news for the Australian NPF team that played in the Pro League in the US last year. They're of course based out of Missouri. This year they're relocating to North Mankato in Minnesota. They're changing the name from the Aussie Steelers to the Aussie Peppers, the Aussie Peppers of Minnesota. So great to hear. That's good news that the Pro League, the Aussie tilt at the Pro League isn't going to continue this year. So we're very much looking forward to seeing them in action in our off season.
Well, that's fantastic. The sport is thriving. This is the number 9 hitter for the Heat. It's Nikki Brennan. And then we're back to the top with Amber Hood and Emily Hopkins.
Well, Nikki Brennan will be a handy base runner for the Heat if she can get on. This is a key batter. Considering the way that the game has gone so far. High for a ball and
patience.
Yeah, we're just over the 50-minute mark, so we're over halfway and we're only at the bottom of the second. So they really need to show a bit of grit here and go about this strategically, and that's exactly what Brennan does for a 4-ball walk to start off the bottom of this second inning and bringing back up to bat the leader of the team of the Hills Heat, and that's Amber Hood.
That's the first base on balls that Zali's given up. Amber started with her first turn at bat, hit over the top of shortstop's head.
Big lead from Brennan and a pick-off attempt from Sarah Tonks. She's quick, isn't she, out of that crouching position.
I'll just make a correction there. It was along the ground from memory now. From Amber. Yeah, she's quick on the feet, and that's obviously why she's in the team, playing the outfield with some speed.
Well, Hood has negotiated 2 pitches for 2 balls, so that's 6 in a row to start the second inning.
After pitching no base on balls.
Two balls, 1 strike.
Who gets after this one, but it goes foul, so just watch for a heads up here, Lee, just in case that one comes back. I don't think it's coming back now, but it'll be interesting to see how Amber goes now. 2-2 in the count here when she's obviously shown some discomfort in this game so far. Just holds back on the swing there a little bit, but pulls it foul. Count remains at 2-2.
Hang on, come on. Ball 2, strike 2.
Games this coming Saturday, James, I thought I'd fill in. West Torrens are playing Sturt, the 2 o'clock game. Then at 4 o'clock on Diamond 2, Walkerville and Seacombe. And the last game at 6 on this diamond, Villanelle and Hills.
Yeah, it's always fascinating because you've had that off season to think about how things are going and shaping up for the season. Can one team still make it? Will this team battle out for top spot? Well, Lee, the ladder shows at the moment Walkerville and West Torrens tied for top spot. 1 game behind them, Port Adelaide, who started 9-0, but they've just dropped back in the pack a little bit at 10-5. So the Port Adelaide coaching staff and Butch Sims has got his work cut out for him to get them back into some winning form. And 1 point behind them is Sturt. So should Sturt win tonight, they'll leapfrog Port Adelaide, but Port Adelaide have only played the 15 games, so they'll have 2 games in hand over the Falcons. Well, Hood takes this one inside out, flies to Ada Caruana, who takes a reasonably comfortable catch, and Hood didn't look comfortable as after she swung that bat. Let's watch the statewide super replay. She pulls up and, yeah, so again, showing some signs of discomfort. We do hope that she isn't hurt too bad and she makes a full recovery soon.
Well, you said Reggie Fairley, Amanda, is got a shoulder or arm bandage on that, you said, so maybe it's wear and tear for her. Reg can hit the ball. Might have to come in because the Amber's look at the Amber says, yeah. Replay showed us all, James.
Yeah. Emily Hopkins now with the task to advance Brennan, who takes off on the pitch. She's quick too, but
she's quick.
Unchallenged, as it was a slight fumble on the drop ball that bounced in the dirt. So did well to knock it down, Tonkin, but Brennan was taking off on the pitch, so she arrived safely at second. So runner in scoring position, which is very important for the Heat. Oh, not a bad piece of the ball. Bradkins takes a good catch. Sorry, had one eye on the runner who threatened to take off on the catch, and then we'll see it on the statewide super replay. Keep your eye on the runner on second base as Pippa Atkins takes the catch, and if she'd thrown it in the second, then she would have caught Brennan short there.
I'm thinking you're quick, Nikki, but don't push your luck too far there.
Good pitch from Adams there, collecting the bottom half of the zone and right in the corner. Just go back to the ladder, then Hills Heat. A couple of games behind Sturt, then Glenelg got 8 points and Seacombe on 7. But both those lineups will be looking to climb the ladder, as they say, and the return of Jade Peterson for the Seacombe Tigers. We saw her play at the state championships over the weekend and
played very well
and made a successful return only a month and a half after giving birth. So that will be a welcome return for the Tigers, although they do have their import pitcher Kim Reeder throwing for them as well. Kim filled in for you during the under-17 championships, Lee, when you were a little crook, and she did a pretty good job along with Jessie Dresswick, who pitches for the Walkerville Cats. So big thanks to those two girls for their help during Nationals.
Yes, I came out in 2 days, able to come out in 2 days. They were fantastic. But I query the little crook because I've never stolen anything, and I'm certainly not small.
Okay. Well, back to the action. You always get me at one stage or another in the game, Lee. We've just passed the hour mark. 2 outs for the Hills Heat, and Perez, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, she has a job ahead of her here. She's 2-2 with 2 out, with a runner on 2 at the bottom of the second, but they're chasing 3.
Yes, need to keep this innings going, you'd think.
Gets away from catcher Tonkin.
I tell you, she can run, can't she, Nikki Brennan?
Yeah, she was over the third in a flash. Oh, wow. My paperwork's flying everywhere, Lee. I'm going to have to put it away and discard the notes, I think. I'm fighting a losing battle. Perez gets her hands to that one. Dongs off the light tower and back into the field of play.
Very promising player, Danny Perez. She's been playing a bit of shortstop as well, but I think I like her. I prefer her at third. That's just my own view, for what it's worth.
Perez just battling away there in the box. She's still in a good count, like she's a full count, so she can expect the ball around the strike zone, but If she watches patiently, she may get a loose one that'll see her arrive safely from a walk. Did you 2 walks so far, or 1 walk so far in the game from Adam? So this one should be around the mark. That's a great piece of this one, and a score, Brennan. It's a great turn at bat for Perez. She fought her way through that one, Lee. A couple of foul balls, patiently got to herself to a full count. Drills that one down the 5-6 hole. Let's watch the statewide super replay. Bang, that went like a rocket.
No defence against that sort of shot, James, as you know, in the hole there. Now this girl batted very well from messages that I received. Maddie Rocha at 19s.
Yeah, Rocha in her final year of under 19s had a bit of a breakout tournament. I think she worked her way in. Well, she started in the starting lineup and worked her way up the batting order. So she did pretty well. Jessie Keach takes this ground ball on the line and fires it across in time for the 3rd out. So commentators curse again, Lee. We've done it again, and Maddie Rocha, our latest victim. Let's watch the statewide super replay. I'll let you call it, mate.
Yes, bangs it down. Jessie Keach needs a good throw into the wind. It was, and well handled by Jenny Gray at first. So 1 run makes it 4-6.
So after 2 complete innings in 62 or 3 minutes, it's still anyone's game. But geez, if you're the heels heat, you're after 3 quick outs because
don't want any addition to
explode.
No, they don't want any addition here by Sturt.
All right,
see
we've
if
got
they can shut them down.
Here we go. We've got a change here, Lee. I'll talk you through it, and you can mark the changes as we go. It's Courtney May is coming in to pitch, so she goes from right field into pitching. Kelly O'Brien still at first with Mackenzie Ween at 2nd. Yeah, the infield remains the same with Danny Perez at 3rd and Amber Hood at shortstop, as well as Alex Mackey catching. The outfield, though, we do see a change. Reggie Fairley has come in to right field. Maddie Rocha moves across to left field, and Emily Hopkins at centre field. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing you the first of a very important segment that we'll bring you each week on a Wednesday night, and that is the statewide Super Volunteer of the Year. It's our first one, and this week's winner of the statewide Super Volunteer of the Week is our South Softball SA Volunteer of the Year from last year, Joanne Liddell. Jo, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Jo, we're doing this in partnership with Statewide Super to recognise the efforts of the volunteers of softball. So we're all very grateful. You do a magnificent job giving back to the sport, and we brought you along here, not to embarrass you, but just so we can get a bit of an insight into one of the volunteers of the game. I'm going to call the game as we talk here, so you just jump in when I ask you a question. So Ada Caruana is the game's original leader. She's going to lead off the 3rd inning for Sturt, as she did in the 2nd as well. Now, your Hills Heat team are still in this game. We've just played 2 innings and they're down by 2 runs. What's the feeling like over there in the Hills Heat dugout?
No, they're still pretty pumped up. There's plenty of time left in the game, obviously. Nice hit.
Caruana does get a good piece of the ball. You're going to take my job there, Jo. And Emily Hopkins gets across there into the centre right alley to field the ball. And the statewide Super Replay shows it. And we're bringing you the statewide Super Volunteer of the Week from the Hills Heat and the Hills Softball Association, Joanne Liddell. Now, Jo, you had a big month, didn't you? You were part of just about every boys state team, weren't you? You helped organise the under-15 boys who went to Canberra. You helped organise the open men who played at the same time. You helped organise the under-17 boys who played here, and you were the team manager of the under-19 men's.
I did. I seem to have taken on some sort of role with men's softball. I actually have daughters, so I'm not sure how that works, but anyway, it's all good.
How do you find the time?
I'm self-employed. I can have time off when I need it.
That'll help. Now, Joe, you were the team manager of the under-19s, and it was a combined side with the Victorian boys as well. So a great little partnership formed there as Pippa Atkins flies out to centre field. Great catch from Emily Hopkins. She's right in the play. Good backup from Alex Mackey. And Ada Caruana arrived safely back to first. So that's one out. Statewide Super Replay will show the catch here. So over in Sydney, over in Blacktown in Sydney, how's the venue looking? Because we're going to be seeing some great action coming up soon, the Asia Pacific Cup and the Summer Slam. How's it look over there in Blacktown?
It was hot, but no, the grounds are amazing. The facility's incredible. The staff and the organisers there were really great. So, no, we had a great time. It was really good.
All right, Joe, you don't play.
No, I've never played.
But you give back to the sport so much. What motivates you, Joe? I want to know what goes in your mind there, because if you're not talking mortgages, you're talking softball.
I'm not really sure. Alex got into it by default through school, I guess, and SAPSASA, and just been around supporting her and want to see all these other kids get the same sort of opportunities that she's had. So, and I love the game. I think it's a great game.
And what's next for you? Just the Hills Heat at the moment? Are you going to...
No, not just Hills Heat, but we've got our Hills Association Grand Final on the 6th of April, and as you know, we are live streaming our men's Div 1 Grand Final game at 6 p.m. at Embo Park on the 6th of April. So we're hoping everyone will tune in and watch. You can't commentate, maybe you might be playing, but we've got Lee Hull lined up to do the job.
A Spacequake Sports exclusive right there from our statewide Super Volunteer of the Week, Joanne Liddell. We are going to be bringing the Hills Men's Competition Grand Final on April the 6th. The Spacequake Sports crew are going on the road. They're going up to Mount Barker, and we are going to be very, very pleased to help bring you that action, because we don't get to see too much men's softball, and we are grateful for what we are able to see. We saw the 17 boys earlier in the month. We saw the men's all-star game at the end of last year as well, and we're very much looking forward to it. And yes, if the Hunter Magpies can find their way into the grand final, I will be playing. I won't be able to commentate, but we also have got Eric Bolnar locked in as well. That announcement made today, as well as Lee Hull.
That's great. It should be an amazing day. So we start our juniors from 9, play right through to all the men's live stream game at the end. It should be a fantastic day.
You've had a massive role to play in that as well. So for your efforts, Joe, not only through this week, but for this month, you are our very first statewide Super Volunteer of the Week. I do have a certificate for you. I thank you so much for joining us on tonight's broadcast. And once again, I want to thank you on behalf of Softball SA for all that you give back to this sport.
My pleasure. And thanks to Statewide Super.
Well, there you have it, Lee, the Statewide Super Volunteer of the Week, the very first one. And if you want to nominate a Volunteer of the Week, just contact admin@softballsa.com.au and let us know who your Volunteer of the Week is.
Yeah, so that was fantastic, wasn't it? Jo, she's been around and never been a player, but you know, follows the sport, just loves it. So we're looking, as you mentioned to her, we're looking forward to going up in the hills for that game.
Well, nice play there from Amber Hood. Will end the inning for the Falcons with no damage. Excuse me.
No addition to the score.
Which is great news for the Hills Heat, because Sturt were threatening again as Ada Caruana got on base from a single, but then Courtney May was able to shut him down. Wasn't she? A fly ball to centre field, a good catch from Emily Hopkins, and an attempted double play before a nice little catch from Mackenzie Ween. That's her second good catch of the game, and a good play from Amber Hood at shortstop. So, well, Sturt Falcons have now got the task, haven't they, to hold this Hills Heat team down, because we're past the 70-minute mark, so 20 minutes to go left in this game, and a quick defensive innings from Sturt Falcons will definitely have them in good shape.
Well, the big thing about that innings, James, and the batting was there wasn't any really long balls, you know, like in the gaps, and so obviously no score. Yes, here's the chance the Hills hit, and they're in the middle part of the lineup with the batters 5, 6 and 7, Ween, O'Brien and Mackey, and we start with Mackenzie, Ween.
Slight delay, and it's normally 1 minute between innings, but the Falcons were just a little lackluster there, weren't they?
Yeah.
Maybe they're all feeling the cold a little bit. Mackenzie Ween looks very solid and great. It's a great piece of the ball. Geez, you could see it in her stance, couldn't you? Like she was always going to get a hit then. I don't know if I sensed it or if I just saw it. Like, I've seen enough softball in my time to see when a batter's looking ready, looking sharp, and she got a good piece of that ball and arrives safely aboard for first base for Kelly O'Brien.
Good signs for the green team, because the next two hitters, Kelly O'Brien and Alex Mackey, both got singles out to centre field, so they could do with those, one of those this time, and the next two hitters.
The next two hitters are going to be key. Now, Kelly O'Brien, look at the hands right up the top of the handle, because it gives her a little bit more control over the bat, and she gets a high one inside, but just cutting the edge of the zone.
Our singer at the awards night does a fantastic job.
We didn't stumble across them, but it was another event by Joe Liddell, as she gets a piece of this ball inside out, and Rachel Tolkien takes a good catch, gets herself in a good position because the wind was swirling a bit there. Yeah, Kelly was singing at a fundraiser that Joanne Liddell just happened to coordinate, so our statewide Super Volunteer of the Week, a couple seasons ago, and when I saw her perform, I was a guest at the function, and I said, I've got to get her for the awards night, and she's sung at the last two. She's a terrific performer.
She is a real professional, and she just fits in beautifully with that night. It just adds a bit to the night, doesn't it?
Yeah, nice little flavour that she adds. So, Alex Mackey, as you said, next couple of batters are key here for the Heat, because they have to move this runner around and get another one of those runs back to stay in the game. A swing called from umpire Tannerbringer. A hold of the bat was almost a check, and you could hear from this position, you heard Alex just grimace a little bit, because she did swing at that high one.
Yep.
You know, we get handed a couple of notes once in a while, Lee. I've been handed a note that says, for those that don't have Foxtel to watch the fully loaded summer slam, that they can watch KO Sports for $5 a month. They're screening the fully loaded softball. So how about that? But what happened there? That was an odd bounce.
That was interesting, a very high pitch, and you'll see it on the replay, and it's hit back to Zali, goes off her club, and like it normally does, either goes to a field or goes away, and it went away, so then enabled Mackenzie Ween to get over there at third. Now we have a 1-3 split.
Statewide Super replay showed it perfectly. It was a good shot from Alex Mackey. She hit the ball up the middle. She only got one fielder to beat. Let's watch the Statewide Super replay as she gets her hands through the ball, drives it up the middle.
On the high pitch, it was a high pitch,
on the reaction, Adams just couldn't get a grip of it, and then it just goes to the opposite direction that Fleming was moving to field that ball. So runners aboard safely, and then on the corners.
She swung the bat at a high pitch, and then the wind pulled the ball down. I think that's what unsettled Zali then. But it's a 1-3 split. See what happens here. There's one down.
Interesting with a bunt attempt, the 1-3 split with one out, and they're chasing a couple of runs when, you know, Courtney is a capable batter. I put all the stats away, Lee. I did have the stats for her. She's had a pretty reasonable season. She's got some RBIs, she's got some on bases, but interesting tactic, and she patiently sees that one past. And actually, we caught up with her just before the game, didn't she? She came in to see us as we were preparing for the game, and she is moving into a career pretty soon, and she's got some high hopes. She's still at uni as well, and she has a mentor as well for business and career moves, and isn't that great to hear from a young lady,
person, yes.
Just 19 years of age. She's got her head screwed on, and so we wish her all the best with that. And she did very well to advance the runner. Alex Mackey stands up safely on second on that stolen base, and Mackenzie Ween safe at third. So 2 runners in scoring position for May, and she moves into a 3-1 count. Good pick up from Tonkin.
It's a very good pickup, and that was going to cost them a run, I think. But very capable catcher, Sarah. So much so that Belle White can play at shortstop when she's available.
Fouls that one off, but stays in the count. That was a 3-1 pitch. All right, Courtney May with a full count. There's one out. We're at the 78-minute mark. So no new innings with 5 to go. Oh, a great piece of the ball from Courtney. However, she hit too much of it, Lee, and it went straight down the throat of the centre fielder, Pippa Atkins. This was very well hit on the statewide super replay. She gets her hands to the ball well and drills a line drive, and Pippa Atkins, Johnny on the spot, fires it into the cut-off player in Jenny Gray.
It's our first line drive, I think, that was really struck, and that's what Courtney May can bring. She may not get hits all the time, but when she does, she usually hits them flat.
There's no justice in this game, is there?
No, there isn't. No, we've talked about that many times, sir.
Okay, well, here's that change of player. Reggie Fairley's in for Nikki Brennan. Now, Reggie Fairley with 2 out, a pinch hitter, and she's just called time as the dust blows into her eyes. Now, home run derby, we saw she could hit the ball. Now, the outfielders are reasonably shallow considering this breeze, so if she can get under one, it might sail to the fence, score those 2 runs that they're trailing by. Here we go. Fairley has got good hands too. We've just seen that she's looked like she's got a swing, but she's held back on those 2 high pitches, and interestingly enough, I can't see the tape on her arm, Lee. No, that we saw before the game. Can't swing at that pitch there from Fairley.
Well, I was thinking I might pass her up here to get to Amber, who we know is not running too well.
Well, we know that, but does Sturt know that?
That's true.
Another big cut of the ball, so pretty
similar pitch, similar swing.
Yeah, pretty good hitting, swinging, and from Fairley. She's got up there some good pitches. Just off of it, she's hitting 261 for the season. So reasonable effort. Cut at that one, and Adams does very well there with that high strikeout, and they will hold that buffer. Now that 3rd out came just in the nick of time for the Hills. If there was any good news out of that strikeout, it is that we're going to go round and we're going to play another innings just in time, as play umpire Kevin Tannenbrink checks the watch and gives us the nod that we're going to go around again. I'm sure he wants to get in the warm because that breeze has got a bit of a chill factor to it as well, and his old bones will be shivering, I would think.
Oh, I think that was a bit tacky, but never mind.
I was just having a bit of fun. He was right next to our commentary position then.
Okay, yeah.
Wry smile.
Because I could come under that category too.
You
see.
look quite warm there in your jacket, mate.
Yes, I am.
A feeling for the ladies to our left, our magnificent scorers, Julie Priest and Jill Williams.
What they don't know about scoring is hardly worthwhile knowing.
And our producer here, David Muggleton, has got a singlet and shorts on, no shoes or socks. So
that comes under the heading, no sense, no feeling.
Back to the action, Courtney May for the Hills Heat gets right into the strike zone there for Millie Fitch, the designated player for the Falcons. Had a pretty good tournament with the SA under 17 girls earlier in the month, which is another one, but this one's on the outside edge for ball 1.
Great future, this girl.
Ball 2, strike 1.
And a foul ball there from Fidge, so just why the play's just halted as umpire Tana Ring just checking some of the score. I think he is. We'll just give a shout out to those girls one more time that are playing in the Summer Slam and the Asia Pacific Cup. The Aussie girls, good catch from Kelly O'Brien for the first out of the inning. And our Aussie girls from South Australia that are represented, Chelsea Robinson from the Walkerville Cats, the 2 girls from the Falcons in Belle White and Maddie Cameron, Hills Heat representative Georgia Hood, and from West Torrens, Jordan Lambert. So hi to those girls preparing for the Asia Pacific Cup, which will start tomorrow. You can catch the play-by-plays from the Softball Australia website, and then the finals starting this Sunday, and then fully loaded softball Monday night, prime time softball. I cannot wait, Lee, and very exciting time of year.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get the fully loaded softball to come here in the future, Jones, which would be fantastic. It's like the equivalent of the BBL in the cricket.
Good hands.
Shorter version, everything happening.
Good hands from Rachel Tonkin, fouls that one off and keeps alive in the count. She's got an 0-2 count. Yeah, interesting concept as well. I like the fact that the bases start loaded in each of the 3 innings that you play, with the home run fence right in close as well. Hopefully we'll see some more home runs, just like we see more 6s in the Big Bash.
Yep. Yep.
Well, so hands fouled one off to the right side the pitch before. This one fouls it off to the left-hand side, nearly collecting our Hall of Fame umpire, Mr. Level Lawrence. And I won't tell you what Jill Williams just said about her fellow life member. 0-2 count.
I think the life members stick together a bit.
Well, you would know, you're a life member yourself, the most recent of the Softball SA life member inductees, so 85-minute mark. So this will definitely be the last inning. We'll play out the inning. Tonkin gets
That's
a
a
piece
great
of the ball.
hands. Great hands from Rachel Tonkin. Held them back, and then poked it in the gap.
Yeah, she definitely reached for it, but you're right, held the hands back for long enough to get a fair amount of bat on ball, and she's safely aboard. So 1 out, runner on 1.
2 safe hits and a K2 for Rachel tonight.
Well, Jordan Lee watches that first one through. Now the 7 and 8 hitters for Sturt have both got a pair of base on balls. So this is where the Hills Heat need to apply some offensive pressure. Oh, shot from Jordan Lee. Hits the fence on the fall. Gee, she'll be happy with that piece of the ball. And unfortunately, she'll be thinking, damn, that one's just gone foul.
Yeah, it comes under the heading WA, wind assisted.
Wind assisted. It's just a long strike, as they say, Lee. 0-2 count. She's come a long way over the cup last few years, hasn't she, Jordan Lee? She's represented South Australia in schoolgirls competition, under 17s, under 19s, and now she's a regular in the Sturt A-grade lineup.
And a very versatile player, can play in a variety of positions.
May and Lee going at it here. A good play there from Perez. Almost turns a double. It was a 5-4, looking for the 5-4-3 double play. And statewide super replay will show that Jordan Lee did the right thing. She hit it straight to a fielder, but she took off straight away for first. Perez over to Ween, who got the ball out of the glove pretty quick, but unable to turn that double. So 2 out, and the number 8 hitter, Lauren Fleming. So one more quick out. Yeah, they have, haven't they? After we saw 9 in the first 3 half innings, we've only seen the 1 since, and if the Hills Heat can retire the Sturt inning, this batter,
it's going to be a big finish.
It will be a big finish, because the Hills, where are the Hills in their order? I think they're back up to the top, as Reggie Fairley was the last out. So they'll be back to the top of the innings for the Hills Heat. Well, Lauren Fleming now for the Falcons. Watches this one, and Jordan Lee takes off and steals second base. A good base running from Jordan Lee. Statewide super replay will show it. You can see that on the start of the replay. She just checked with the first base coach, Michelle Bonner, there, and arrived safely. So ground ball, this one chops over the top of the pitcher. There's no play. Well, we've got a rundown situation here. Mackey chasing Jordan Lee back, and the throw is low, and an out is made
successful.
low. Danny Perez with a good recovery, because that throw was just off the spot. Lauren Fleming will see her beat this one out. Jordan Lee turns third and finds herself in no man's land as Kelly O'Brien fires that throw in. Catches her in a rundown play. A great throw in the end from Mackey, because that's where Jordan Lee's hand was reaching for the base, right down low. So good play.
It was. And Kelly O'Brien from first got the ball on quickly, that enabled that trap play to happen.
And wasn't he right there on the spot, Neville Lawrence, to make that call and that out. So 2 very good defensive innings from the Hills Heat off the back of the pitching performance from came into relief for Adams a fair bit during the tournament. We saw that. What are your thoughts, Lee?
Well, it's late in the game, and a different type of pitcher Millie is than Zali, I feel. And she'll be needing to throw it in the zone, and she can't strike them out. I'm thinking, make them hit the ball to your infield, or pop the ball in the air to the outfield.
These 2 young ladies have done the lion's share of the work for the Falcons this year. Adams, 55 innings so far, plus tonight's work. Millie Fidge, 17, second most for the Falcons lineup, and they've both got very respectable ERAs. 3.18 for Adams and 1.24 for Fidge. So the future looks bright for these young South Australian pitchers, and gee, won't it be great to see the stars line up in 5 or 6 years' time, and the pitching talent and depth that the young girls in the Adelaide competition are showing at the moment.
Well, they just need to keep going, don't they? When you get to this age, lots of other things come into play, you know, your work, environment, and that. But it's a challenge for Millie here in the Sturt Falcons, because Hood, Hopkins and Perez and Rocha can all hit the ball.
Well, the leadoff for the Hills Heat is Amber Hood. She led off the first inning as well. Low for ball 4. So that was reasonably close. Amber Hood didn't even attempt to swing at it and earns herself a walk. Now, I'm gonna try and dig into my notes here, Lee, because Amber Hood is leading the competition with walks. That's her 19th walk of the season.
Yeah, I think it's brought about because pitchers that know her will pitch her very carefully.
Good pace of the ball there from Emily Hopkins. She's muscled that one that goes in between the legs of Rachel Tonkin, and Amber Hood advances on the hit to second. And then the throw from right fielder Caruana to try to get Hopkins, who was going to first base, took off for third. It was a Slight misfield there from Gray. She took her eye off the ball. You saw that was a low throw, but she took her eye off and it went between her legs as well. Runners now in scoring position on second and third. The runner on second represents the tying run. So no outs with Danny Perez up to bat. A clean hit could tie the game. Watches this one through the middle of the zone, Lee. That's a one for a strike. Well, interestingly enough, we haven't seen any movement from the Sturt dugout. I may have thought maybe the coach might go out just to settle them down a little bit, just remind them.
Oh, gee, that was gone.
Just remind them what that runner on second represents. So a foul ball from Perez, swung past Tanya Hood there at third base. Statewide Super Replay may show it here. It went pretty quick. Pulls the ball and Tanya Hood moving out
Tanya's
the way.
face turned a white shade of white.
Okay.
I was going to say a
I don't know what
pale
that
shade,
means.
but that would be grey.
Here we go, Danny Perez behind the piano, 2. And that one was very close, but a ball called 1 ball, 2 strikes, and she's obviously in reasonable form to watch that one and leave that one alone because that was pretty close.
Just need the ball to land somewhere for a run.
Fidge gets the first strikeout victim, so yeah, not this time. Fidge says no, and that brings up Maddie Rocher up to bat, so 1 out. Can Fidge leave these runners stranded in scoring position?
She can't afford to throw it too low in case the ball gets away.
That is exactly where she goes. And
yeah, terrific pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah, great pitch and well taken by Tonkin, the catcher. So Rocher now with the job ahead of her. Bring these 2 runners in to tie the game. And a failed squeeze play attempt. And the statewide Super Replay will show that Rocher, with eyes on the ball, left this one, and Hood got a big jump and great play there from Tonkin, not only getting that ball fired across to third base to catch Hood out in the trap play, but then to come back, double back, and make a tag out at home. So that's a key out there for the Falcons. Now 2 out. Change up, that gets behind the batter.
Hello.
Would have scored the... Well, that's 1 run now, so that would have scored Hood and Hopkins to third, but instead now it scores Hopkins. The statewide Super Replay shows Jessie Keach does well as well. Amber Hood does as much as she could do to avoid the tag, but...
And that's what you've got to do, isn't it? Keep the ball out the dirt in those situations, if possible.
Well, they've reduced the margin to 1, but there's no more ducks on the pond, Lee. So Rocher on ball 3, strike 1.
No more ducks on the pond. They've obviously been blown away with this win.
High for ball 4, so very interesting turn at bat because we saw one get away from the catcher, Tonkin. Runner is on first, tying run on first, and Mackenzie Wynn represents the winning run, but there's 2 out. So can Fidge hold her nerve here? She's already struck out 1, and the defense is held up as well, so she can back her field here. She just needs a ground ball. Mackenzie Wynn watching that one on the outside edge, not her pitch, so she's got another couple of tries or chances. Eagles heat down to their last 2 strikes. Low for a ball, and Rocher is not getting a big lead off from first because Sarah has come up with a couple of good pickoff attempts tonight, one of them successful, just 2 batters ago. So Ween now low for another ball, and look at Rocher's lead off of first base. She's hardly taking a step.
This is a very good turn at bat so far. Main thing is Mackenzie must not go down looking.
Well, a good at bat from both the pitcher and batter so far. because Fidge got in there straight away with a called strike to apply that offensive pressure, but then Mackenzie, with a cool head, has got herself into a good hitters count, 3-1 now.
Yep.
Will we see Rocha take off with an aggressive play from the heels?
I don't think so.
The cut from Ween there, and she's just off of it, so she was looking to
Anything close here, James. Anything close, swing at it.
Well, Rocha should take off on the pitch, 2 out with a full count. A strikeout swinging, Millie Fidge
Up at the task.
comes in to close the game for the Hills Heat. A great cameo with 2 strikeouts in the bottom of the 4th. Hills threatened. They got the runners on. They got them into scoring position, but they didn't manage to score enough. And a final here tonight, Sturt Falcons winning over the Hills Heat in what was an intriguing game, 6 runs to 5 in just 4 innings. We nearly went an hour 40. Lee, talk us through some of your statewide super performance of the game.
I will, James, after we just straighten up the monitor again. Well, for the winning side, let's go over here.
Well, starting pitcher Sally Adams did pretty well. She reduced the Hills to 4 runs in 3 innings, but great finish and a close from Millie Fidge with 2 strikeouts and just the 1 unearned run.
Well, 2 hits, 2 safe hits to Ada, to Sarah, to Rachel. They're the main hitters for the Sturt side.
Courtney actually came in and did very well in a pitching role for the Hills Heat. She didn't give up any runs.
She did. The runs dried up then. And for the green team, Amber Hood, one
single and a walk.
Single, yeah. Emily a single. All singles here, I think. Yes.
Kelly O'Brien had that RBI
Kelly,
single.
Alex Mackey, Mackenzie Ween. So some singles there, but 6 runs to 5. Pretty tight.
Yeah, well, mate, I think some solid performances and contributions all around for both teams. So I'm going to give my statewide super player of the game to Ada Caruana. She got on a couple of times. She stole bases. She scored a couple of times and made some good plays out at right field as well in these swirling conditions. So a key contributor and a statewide super player of the game for me, Ada Caruana. Look, it's pretty cold, mate. It's pretty windy. I'm going to let David and his team from Spacequake Sports pack up and get out of here. I'm sure they'll appreciate getting out of here in a hurry, as well as the rest of the crew. So thanks very much to Spacequake Sports, our broadcast partners, Statewide Super, MC Sportswear and MK Services SA. Good luck on your call this Saturday, Lee. I'll be away in Sydney, and of course next Wednesday night as well, when we bring you the live action here on Spacequake Sports. Hills Heat versus Sturt Falcons. Falcons winning 6 runs to 5.
Yeah, good night everybody.